You know, we are a story-making people. We all love story. Human history is recorded in story. His story, her story. Every day we use story. When we meet our friends, we start telling them about our lives, what we have done recently. We start talking about ourselves in story form. Some of that story may be true, and sometimes we like to tell stories that contain elements of fiction, fantasy. These are people like me who are storytellers. And there's a different kind of truth told in fiction, a kind of truth that can't be told in non-fiction. What do I mean by that? Well, non-fiction records our history, lives of this planet, but in fiction we can put in deeper truths. We can talk about our problems, our triumphs, our deepest values in non-fiction form, and that is not threatening. We can relate to story that is in a fantasy or fun form, and children can see themselves in story. So that's another element of story that I try to introduce into these sunshine books. I try to make the stories affirming for a child. I try to make the stories love a child, make the child feel successful and good about himself or herself. And that can't always be done in non-fiction books, in textbooks, and in exercises, literary exercises. With story, the child always identifies with the smallest character in a book. Have you noticed that? If I write about a cat and a mouse, the child will identify with a mouse. If I write about a child and a cat, the child usually identifies with the cat. Or an adult and a child, the child identifies with the child. The child's world is a small world, and children have empathy with the smallest creature. So it's very important in a book that small is always the winner. And have you noticed that in the sunshine books? The small person always wins. Sometimes by the virtue of being small, sometimes because small is smarter than big. You know, young children know a little bit about being powerless. Can you remember when you were very young and all the things that you could not do? Maybe you put your hand in the glove and you had several fingers left over, or you couldn't do the buttons up on your jacket, or make the zip fastener behave itself, or you couldn't do up your shoelaces. You couldn't reach things. When you sat on a chair, your feet dangled. You so longed to be big. That was your great ambition, to grow and to be big, so that you could do the things that all the big people can do. Well, you can give children that power in a book. Children in my stories are powerful. Children solve their own problems. Adults don't solve problems for children. I mean, children get enough of that in real life. But children can feel affirmed and powerful in these sunshine stories.